what we talked about in our pre-match meeting. So I dug it out of the archives. Lineup, we went with pretty much the same lineup that we've been going through all of the playoffs. And then this was our 10th game. Obviously, we ended up winning this game, so we finished 2018 with a 10-game winning streak. It looked like this. Greg in the back between the pipes, which Budnick is going to talk way too much about in this. Kyle at the 2, Lexi at the 4, Paco at the 5, Oscar at the 3, Paulo was captain and the 6, Nair was the 8, Ilya was the 10, George was the 7, Brian was the 11, and Luke started up high as the 9. That's the way we went. We talked about attacking things that we wanted to dictate and dominate the rhythm of the match with our movement off the ball and with our ball movement. We wanted to have possession with a purpose. We definitely wanted to have our outside backs attack centrally if in our build-up, if that space was on. In particular, if George and Brian could stretch the field more on Brian's side. We wanted to see if we could catch them in transition. We knew they were going to have some counterattacking opportunities, and that would open them up. We thought they'd sit in a lower block. We were going to have to be patient in our build-up and really kind of pull them out in order to attack into spots. Any other thoughts from you guys as we were planning this?
I remember us talking about their double sixes and how they like to get forward, and that we thought that they weren't going to be as diligent in trying to get back, which would open up space in front of their back line.
Yep. Our idea was to press, but we had the idea that maybe they weren't going to play out of the back. So we'll look at that here. We needed to take the initiative, especially in transition. We thought that was going to be an opportunity. Needed to be immediate reactions on both sides of the ball, and collective. Defensively, we wanted to be organized and compact and defending Phoenix's counterattack, not giving away dangerous restarts in the final third, mostly due to Drogba and his ability to hit some critical free kicks. We also talked about, as we always do, winning critical moments. We had a couple different presses depending on and I don't want to talk about the specifics of that, but we had 2 different presses that we kind of prepared for based on how Phoenix was playing. And then, we always talk about we always talk about like final reminders, what is most important. And, this is a championship final, but we wanted our players to have confidence. We wanted them to play with a passion and intelligence. We wanted to have, our intention was to win individual battles and compete. But the thing that stuck with me most when I looked at this was we had a simple goal that if we played for each other, we had an opportunity to make history. A minute, Danny, what were you saying about your scout and how good it was?
Did you hear those words come out of my mouth ever?
That's what you were implying.
No, there was not. I said, "Are you going to speak?"
Blue City fans, I'd just like you to know that Danny does the scout, and whenever we do well, after a scout that Danny does, he likes to take total credit for the victory.
This is what I deal with on a daily basis. Verbal abuse, physical abuse.
I'm giving you credit.
It's unbelievable.
I'm giving you credit.
You usually take up anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes asking us whether we thought your scout was extraordinary or highly above average.
So you guys are going to try to do this, huh? Do it. You're going to go, it was supposed to be us two. And no, I see it. Okay.
Your scouts.
Roll the tape.
Your scouts are always
trick. Roll the tape. Yeah, we knew how dangerous he is in transition going forward, but it was an advantage for us in our build-up, which is something that we discussed. He wasn't someone that was going a million miles an hour defensively, so it's something we thought we could exploit. And looking back, I think it's something we absolutely did. But on the flip side, he was dangerous, as he always is. There's no doubt about it.
All right, what do you say we watch this bad boy?
Absolutely. Get it rolling right now.
Multi, are you going to jump in and ask the same question 100 times over and over again? Or what's your plan?
You got it,
I was waiting for the shot.
You knew it was coming.
Oh, always.
Phoenix ready to get underway. Another USL Cup final is in repeat.
Volume up or good there.
That's great.
It's the purple and gold.
Multi, it's really nice to be actually able to see this as we're trying to commentate on it.
This actually goes on my apartment, so.
Good. You can see right away where Phoenix is trying to set up their line of confrontation. They're clearly not pressing us high. Drogba's the highest guy, so he's setting their line of confrontation. Felt like we could get Kyle and Oscar to attack on the inside a little bit, especially if they were stepping with outside midfielders and cutting out the 7-11.
We're going to try and cut down the channels. These outside backs from Louisville City tend to be very active. How will they counteract each other over the course of the match? Big question mark. Spencer trying to slip that through. McCain continues.
I think you see right there the fact that when we lost the ball, our intent was to try to have collective reactions to get it back immediately. And we started off well in this game. Really think that was a major factor just in the competitive and collective battle between these two teams.
Subject to some French newspaper fodder. The region was final.
I'm analyzing that.
Nice. Farrell, the other way. And the comments you'll get about him is they're too hard. A lot of people don't necessarily like him. I love him. It's one of my most favorite balls on the market. The way that it's so true, the manner in which you strike it, plays very, very well.
Talk about the inflation again.
Global attacking half.
That caused a massive stoppage.
Say that again?
The ball, there was a couple players.
The inflate gate, yeah, that's coming up here. And my feeling is that sometimes the officials, they go by these gauges that aren't always accurate, and so whatever their gauge says, that they don't do the field test. And a player, when they touch a ball, especially when they're trying to hit it for real, can tell right away whether it's underinflated or overinflated. And right away you see some of the guys talking about the fact that it's not inflated enough. Here I think you see it's Phoenix's first time to play out of the back, and instead they choose to go long, which is not a bad play by them because it negates our ability to attack.
He's going for goal. It's knocked out by Ranjitsing. It's out for a corner.
Budnick, what do you think about Greg there?
Not bad. Maybe a little nervy, big game, first real chance, but Drogba's world class. We've seen that before, particularly on his free kick situations. Greg did enough to get it out for a corner.
Well, Mike, as you can see, there's been some issues with the air pressure of the ball.
Conversely, you see us trying to play out of the back here. Something that it's one of our principles. If we can unbalance a team right away by bringing them to us. Phoenix didn't really do that too much. So again, we started our build-up mainly from this area of the field in the middle third.
Always frustrating as a player, Mike, especially when you go through pre-game warm-ups. You're starting to get a lay of the land, feel exactly how these balls are going to react coming off your foot, especially with the temperature. You have to adjust yourself.
This is something that we were obviously concerned about going into the game from the scout throughout training in the week, because this is when they're dangerous.
Really good collective coverage there defensively when you have that many players back. We talk about doing things as a group of doing things collectively, and you can see, we were pressing up in our attacking third, and then we are in our defensive third, and everybody's back, and Paulo wins the ball. Really good example there of Brian coming inside, Oscar going outside. So we're trying to get Phoenix, which is lined up in the way that they were lined up with two blocks of four, or a 4-4-1-1. But the idea is to pull their outside back and their outside midfielder, make a pick and choose.
Line it to McCain. The Irish native. McCain diving hammer, falls to the box. Del Pico. Luzinski. Everybody trying to close them down. Back and forth stuff right now. He is for Desante.
I think you always see early in games some of the tactical intent of teams. And I remember from the side thinking, okay, if we do what we're supposed to in terms of our execution, Danny had been spot on with the scout, and now we had a little bit of what we call the rhythm of the match. We could dictate what was happening a little more. We still had to be really careful of these counter opportunities.
Well, like you said, even now, look at our block. I mean, we're in a really good spot defensively. I think in this game in particular, the guys did an excellent job of trying to get back behind the ball as a group, not giving anything up.
A little unlucky there to give away that corner, but I love the fact that Oscar got his head on it, didn't let it hit the ground. There you see collective defense. That's Ombi, who's playing on the opposite side winger, doing such a good job.
Coming over off the corner kick and working defensively to help the transitional play, but that was
It's an exact ball that we worked on throughout the week. Being patient, knowing that they were going to sit back, not being forced into anything, understanding that they're trying to win the ball and exploit the space behind.
Yeah, and specifically when Alexi plays that ball to Kyle, or Paco to Oscar, if we could eliminate a line of Phoenix's defenders, that's what we were trying to do. And these long diagonals are clearly that intent. I think we played a little too many of them early in this game that didn't come off, but the idea was right. I would just say what an unbelievable atmosphere this was. You know, from the minute the stadium opened throughout, you know, the warm-ups, there was just an energy that you could feel that was pretty incredible. We have a little bit of a chance here to break on a counter. See Phoenix, conversely, doing a really good job getting into their block. Another one of those little diagonal balls. The intent to eliminate Phoenix players, but we didn't do it on that one for sure. Good chance there. And we should note that if Cam is healthy, he pulled his hamstring in the Eastern Conference Final against New York. You know, he's on top of the ball most likely, although we have so many guys that can hit free kicks well. What a
Great ball there from Greg.
You teach him that, Big Cat?
I did. Just like we drew it up.
I'm gonna call him right now in Minnesota, see if he'll say yeah.
He'll tell you.
The excellent build out.
Build up, you mean?
Started from Greg's ball. That's a build out.
Building out of the back into our build up. Common language, Daniel. Think that's a foul?
I didn't see it.
I mean, Alexi only stuck his elbow in the guy's ear, so I don't have a problem with that.
But he really wants the best for Luke Spencer, and he said this is his time to shine.
What a touch from the referee.
Referee.
Absolute class.
What I really liked about our block is you see that Ilya and Niall did so much work, and they collectively covered for each other so often, and that allowed us always to have a playmaker in a really good spot. Another opportunity where, I mean, I know people sometimes are critical about, hey, why would you play out with that much pressure? But, you know, I think we're doing it in an intelligent way, and if we get it right, we're taking out, in that case, maybe 3 or 4 different Phoenix players.
Against North Carolina, he was a bit frustrated. We'll say he didn't get to dawn his grace on this ground when he was coming through the system. Fantastic save.
A little bit of an example there. I would hope Alexi takes a little bit more of a dribble and commits the Phoenix players before he plays that ball to Kyle. And if we do it right, he had done it right previously, Kyle's going to have a ton of space to attack behind that line.
I thought I was better than a lot of players do it. Didn't necessarily work out for me, did it? But you see it. You see what he's capable of. And, for Cameron Lancaster, unfortunately, he's had to deal with the injury bug a lot more than Harry Kane has. But it gives you an idea of how truly injured he is tonight. Injuries all season long, separated shoulder, always willing to bounce back.
Almost. That's such a good little movement, and I thought we had one that break right there. Get it back pretty quickly. Ombi always does a good job of stretching opposing defense. His job in this game was really to be able to do that. More so on the left-hand side, playing as the 11, than George, who was playing as the 7 in this game.
I haven't seen Phoenix get out in transition the way you expect. It's been a bit turbulent. That's credit.
I don't understand, how would we have a throw-in and all of a sudden their keeper has the ball? Must have missed something there, Malty.
Handball back to Louisville. Low ball, I suppose.
I think we did a really good job disrupting them. I mean, we're 23 minutes in, and apart from a couple of dangerous set pieces, you haven't really given anything up. You know what I mean?
Left it behind. What a ball from Drogba. And Frager out to Johnson.
On cue, Danny, you're teeing it up.
What a save. Greg, one of the best.
I'm gonna need to edit. That's bad. That was really bad timing. Oh my god.
A big time save there by Greg.
Absolutely. One of the best that we've had. We're lucky to have him while we did. His athleticism there on full display. Strong hand in the near post. I think that shot took a neck too. I think it took a deflection.
I didn't really love these 2 build-outs. We tried to go long on one, which is part of our intent. If we can eliminate 6 or 7 Phoenix players and get an isolated attacker 1 versus 1, didn't come off. And then again, we don't do it. Nice little build up here. You can see the angles. We're trying to, when Oscar's wide on the touchline, we want Ombi to come inside. Conversely, when Ombi's wide on the touchline, it gives Oscar an opportunity to come in.
Smith underappreciated as they come. Davis. Shifty.
Good run out of the midfield there from Nile.
Smith. Davis. Davis tries to curl it back across.
Love that play.
Send it on the ground.
Would have loved it more if somebody was on the back post there. Who was that? Did you guys see it?
Didn't see.
Phoenix told us in meetings yesterday at the hotel we may have to absorb a little pressure. They did it versus Orange County.
I would tell Mike Watts that it looks like Phoenix is absorbing a lot of pressure right now. So
Bided their time, waiting to counter. Only seen one.
when you look at this right now, we got 2 guys around the ball, 3.
You bailed him out.
The referee definitely
Bailed him out.
50th goal this year. Push off of Devon Frater.
Malty, to your point where we were talking about this, this ended up being a little bit of a physical game, stop and start, and from this point forward, it was probably a little bit too much start for our liking because we want to get into a rhythm, and I think it favored Phoenix if they got into, like right here, you see 3 whistles blown, and you could argue that none of those were fouls, and that was going to favor Phoenix if they could make this a stop-start game.
Feels that they're tactically fine. On the other side, John Hackworth wants a soccer game to break out. He says we're not connected
And look, Julie, supporting my.
Oh my gosh, you teed yourself up.
I didn't
for your
I didn't
own
know.
interview. That's ridiculous.
I've only watched this game 10 times. I don't know what you're talking about.
That won't be such a big problem because Hackworth is standing probably 35
that
yards.
beard is just,
He hasn't sat down yet.
it's outrageous.
Is that the longest your beard's ever been?
That, no, during this pandemic, my beard's been out of control, way longer than that. But I wasn't shaving it. When you're on a 9-game unbeaten streak and you're going into a final, you don't touch the thing. You can't.
Davis goes for goal.
It's nice to see us getting the flank play of both Obi and George, both sides.
Yeah, even better, I think, you get Oscar and Kyle into those wide spots where George and Brian have the freedom to come inside.
Packy just a little suspicious.
I'm a little stitious, yeah.
Oh my
could say
gosh,
that.
are you kidding? You're extremely stitious. It's ridiculous. You ate the same meal for that 10-game win streak.
Wore the same underwear.
Oh, you're sick.
I mean,
It's too
there's
much.
a lot of things that people don't know about that I do.
It's too much
So,
information.
including you.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll do anything for a little good
I
mojo.
love it, man. You do your thing.
Big news around this league in the last couple of months.
Niall, what are you doing?
He just wants it back.
Niall overthought that one.
Next year. League 1 and League 2.
Again, you can see that when ball goes out of bounds, we're trying to put it into play right away, keep the game at a high tempo.
Mexico just made some signings. Asante.
Lexi's going to want that one back for sure.
Asante into the area.
Especially, you don't want to give Asante that kind of chance.
Put it on his right foot. That's the thing. Jason
But this is what they were trying to do, you know, wait for us to make a mistake.
really have not influenced.
Force us to make a mistake.
Ron Frater, I understand what they're trying to do with him up top, but they have to find a way to get him involved. He has been almost non-existent.
Like you're saying, though, if Lexi can drive here,
Johnson.
4-stroke, but a defend.
Is he having to go either?
Yeah, 100%. He told me to F off. Just standard.
No, I didn't. I told you to write a point down that I wanted to emphasize in the halftime talk.
Okay.
And I had to say it in a stern voice because you two were jibber-jabbering about some and I needed to have you guys pay attention, so I had to get stern with you.
About the tactics of the game. We had to make sure we had our points ready for you.
Craig. I'll go with you.
I'm gonna cut that.
They're in the United States. Before the USL,
Nice one, man.
what they've been able to replicate citywide. Phoenix Rising.
Didn't love that ball, from Greg on that occasion. How about you, Big Cat?
It was spectacular.
No, but sometimes that's really the only option that you have as a goalkeeper, trying to play and find a longer option higher up the field. Didn't quite come off, but I think Greg's been pretty strong so far.
Me too. As he was in this streak. Although Dobro started the streak, didn't he? He was in goal because Greg was hurt. And obviously Greg finished it off. Billy is just offsides there. You can't tell how influential Paulo is in this match, but if you're really paying attention, all his little battles. I mean, he was in such good spots for 90+ minutes in this game. Really incredible. And then on the ball, have some quality as well. But his defensive role in this game was exceptional.
Really strong performance from him.
Davis the fourth. Spencer for Smith.
There you see a little bit of it inside out. You just missed it. That would have been fantastic if that little pattern comes off.
Frater brings this down. He scored a dozen goals last year for Colorado Springs, but not much of a role this year. Feeling Chris Cortez exploded the scene. Phoenix's time record.
Love the fact that you see us just hunting the ball.
Absolutely. Always 6 or 7.
Niall started it and he's still after it.
Africa. Canadian international.
Now we kind of get into our block and it gets broken a little bit and Giving Drogba that much time and space is not a great thing.
There we go. I like that ball from Ray. 2 passes.
A bit of a trend for both squads, not really capitalizing on those set pieces. Something to watch out for down the stretch.
Here we go into the final 5 minutes of the first half, and well, I felt good about our ability to for the most part dictate the game. You're still a little unnerved by the fact that you haven't created the chances maybe that you really want to get at. And on the other side, Phoenix, despite not having a lot of the ball, has had a couple good looks, one which Greg has to make a fantastic save on. Even though, you look at George and then that shot from distance and both of them aren't even on frame, I always think that I love when players take those chances because it's going to eventually, the next time around, pull that defender closer out and will open up something. So much of a soccer game is to bring in another game, a little bit of a chess match where you have to do things in one moment that gives you an opportunity in the next.
Total commitment from our guys, defensive side of the ball.
Really the first time in the game here where we're not putting them under pressure and allowing them to play, although we're in a really good block, so we're not giving them anything away here.
Now that he's out, Colin Fernandez in, Lambert sits a bit deeper. It's going forward. Where is the balance?
Danny, you see anything that you recognize as something that Phoenix is doing, or?
No, I think the game's playing out almost identical to how we thought it would play out. The chances came from transition, the long balls over the top, second balls we talked about quite a bit. We talked about them dropping off just like this. Again, you look at Drogba and you look at where their line is set, and we talked about trying to exploit it.
Into stoppage time, that last foul by Kyle, when the referee doesn't call the first one against George, you're almost forced to try to make a play there and disrupt. And there's going to be people that say, no professional fouls, but that's just part of this game and this sport.
Phoenix Rising has to figure out a way to get out of their comfort zone. They are struggling right now. Maintaining possession isn't an issue, but you have to capitalize on.
Want to talk about a little bit of what we do when we walk off the field, boys?
What we do?
What we do.
Yeah. Normally, the first thing you ask is, what did you see? What do I need to know? Give me your thoughts. So typically, we're going back and forth about that from the attacking standpoint, the defensive standpoint, and the transition standpoint. Obviously, then you go through your notes and determine kind of what the message is going to be to the group after we speak. And I remember at halftime here, we really just went over what we talked about before the game, which is we just got to be aware of transition, we got to be aware of set pieces, and we got to try to speed of play. We talked about trying to move the ball a little bit quicker, because from a defensive standpoint, their front two, once you move the ball to the opposite side of the field, if our center back, like you talked about, Alexi starts to drive, now their winger has to make a decision. Am I going to step to the center back, or am I going to try to cut off the ball wide? And more often than not, we were able to play the ball to the front foot of Kyle or OJ, and that allowed us to break a line.
Big Cat, you had some memories of that halftime talk.
I remember you making the point that if we could, that we could try and maybe when we're switching to the point of attack, that we could try and cut out maybe their outside backs and look to drop balls in behind their back line a little bit when switching the point and trying to get them to turn their backs a little bit and face their own goal. I also remember you making the point that we need to have a little bit more patience, not to play lethargically, but to be a little bit more patient. Particularly I think in transition, because I think you had mentioned that a couple times in transition we tried to play a little bit too quickly, and we needed to give time for some of our runs to develop a little bit more.
Yeah, I think you could tell that to that point, Ilya and Luke had a couple times when we could break and it didn't come off. One time we missed Kyle when he's overlapping in a good spot. I remember, you always say I always think of Bob Gansler taught me a long time ago, when you go into halftime, you make it so that you give some general information at first and then you give your tactical points, but you got to finish with something that the guys will walk out of that locker room feeling about. And I know I tried to put the emphasis that although we had played well, we hadn't done anything yet, and that they had 45 minutes to really go out and still the opportunity. We were playing better soccer, but we hadn't really cracked them yet, and I thought that was something I tried to express to them as we were walking back
I do remember saying the three of us having the discussion that we felt good about how more of the chances fell to our side. We had more of the set pieces or attacking set pieces in our final third. We had gotten Owen B going a couple times towards the second half of the first period, or the first frame. George on the other side, Ilya had gotten some goals, and that we were pretty encouraged by the signs. We just needed to keep at it.
We felt really good going in, but we were concerned about the transition moments. We knew that it only took them one moment to change the game because they have dangerous pieces.
Yeah.
And so we felt not comfortable. We were confident in the group, but we also wanted them to make sure that they were aware of the transition, which is the same point we hammered away all week, to be fair.
Did Kyle picked up a card here, right? And
Yeah, he had a yellow one towards, I believe
It was on the professional foul at midfield that I was talking about, where the foul doesn't go against George, and Kyle had no choice but to take a professional foul at that moment.
I just remember you making sort of a side or a minor note that on the defensive side we needed to make sure that we had proper positioning and that we were had each other's cover and that we couldn't leave anybody out on an island, particularly with their size and their pace.
Yeah. Good. I mean, I think when you look at a team that has Drogba, Pai, Frater, and Asante underneath, you're just looking at it going, hey, you can't give them the second ball opportunity you referenced, Danny. And we had given, Drogba gets 2 second ball opportunities in that half, and fortunately, didn't connect on either one of them, but they were dangerous. A player of his caliber can and has pulled that off at every, team he's ever been at. So, interesting setup for the second half, yeah.
Since 1923, COSAIR Charities has shown children their potential instead of their obstacles, so they see the world as a place of possibility, where great things can take flight. When you support COSAIR Charities, you help elevate every aspect of a child's life. Together, our kids, an entire community, can reach new heights. There's so much more to do. Join us by donating today.
When you need a vehicle you can count on, trust Toyota to be here for you.
People are getting back out there again, and Toyota can help you out today and years to come with 0% financing for 60 months on legendary quality vehicles like RAV4, Tacoma, and Camry. And we can defer your payments up to 90 days or get you a great lease like this RAV4 for $199 a month.
It's our promise to you, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
To our Kroger associates, for the long hours and late nights, for the miles traveled and the shelves restocked, for making a difference in our customers' lives, for doing so much more than your job. Everyone at the Kroger family of brands and our customers say thank you. In a time when daily life feels a bit uncertain, your hard work is keeping America fed. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Front loader odor. You know that smell when you open your funky front load washer? But at GE Appliances, we've engineered the first and only front load with an ultra-fresh vent system with odor block. Equipped with vents that help keep it dry and antimicrobial technology that protects against bacteria. Basically, funky to fresh, so you can
Shut the front door.
No one says that.
Another way we make good things for life.
No.
Hey, put the hat on. Put the hat on. Own it.
I'm doing this
Own
because
it.
I want to, not because you're part
Own it.
I'm very happy we decided to redo this.
Hey, Hack, you can relax. We won this game. You don't have, like, we won. We won the championship.
But I can't help get a little bit, anxious here.
Yeah. Hollow again, man.
It's like watching a movie during this pandemic. I've watched the movie 10 times. I know the ending, but I still am getting a little bit like, what's gonna happen?
No one listens. Look at that. There he is again.
All right, so Phoenix comes out a little higher. Obviously, a little bit of a tactical adjustment on their part. Give Rick some credit because I think we had too much of the play in the first half. So their attempt is to try to put us in a little more.
Johnson, Fernandez, ran into Davis. Frater tried to hold
Ilya showing off some Ilya skill right there.
from the visiting squad immediately. You can see them coming out much more emotion, really trying to take the game.
Now Devin making my point for me.
Lacking a bit in the first half.
Little Oscar Ombi's showing our inside-outside game.
And kicked all the way back. Spencer in pursuit. Spencer
Look at that.
Really good.
His message to the room was, we have 45 minutes left to get a trophy. He said, I want to see you guys fight. He said, we were too tense. We weren't loose enough in the first half, and we didn't finish our chances. He said, these first 15 minutes...
Julie talking about Rick's talk or my talk?
I think Rick's, because that doesn't sound like what you said at all.
I would say a lot of mumbo jumbo about tactics and try to bedazzle the audience with some BS and stuff like that, right?
To be fair, it's shocking. It really is.
Try to make myself look more important than I really am.
We did a better job there getting around the ball off the driver's chest, though. You can see there again just our emphasis on trying to put the ball back into play. Yeah, we missed Oscar there. That was a great run by him.
Times is impeccable.
To make history here. Decorated international Africa.
Give Pocket some credit. I thought he was solid this whole game, dealing with all three of the potential from Frater to Asante to Drogba. Lexi too. I thought both of them were really good. Not just this game, throughout the stretch, but clearly when they're isolated 1v1, it's so important that they do the job. Great tackle by Kyle.
Oh, yeah.
Come on, Ombi.
Ah.
Really good ball.
Great touch.
Great touch by Ombi. Not a great finish. Good read by Ilya. Fair play on that one. It was a foul.
Yeah.
What are you thinking on that free kick in the one in the first half?
You don't want to know what I was thinking, because I can't say it without getting bleeped by Malty, I'll tell you that. Bleep, bleep, bleep. What did I think? I thought bleep, and I thought bleep, and I thought what the bleep, and bleep, bleep.
I'll tell you this, Big Cat himself. You should. I can feel him. He was not in a good
If we
place.
would have given up a goal on one of those restarts, yeah, Big Cat would have. He would have had a long.
Really? All right, let's go.
He would have had a long off season.
Let's follow that line of logic, right? So we give up one of the free kick. Would you have said, okay, like Budnick can keep his job after the save off the deflection?
Nope.
No?
It's
Nope.
Here's the problem. Okay?
No chance.
The only logic.
You're
that
fired
makes
before we
sense-
leave
Yeah.
the building. You're definitely fired before we leave the building.
Yeah,
He saves a penalty in the 90th, like, I don't get to keep my job.
Not if you lose.
Guys, look at our press here. Ilya starts it. One of the ways we were pressing was with our 10 onto their center backs. I think you get a really good look at that there. Leads to this.
Menace striking. To Frater.
Did you think that was the
I
goal?
thought it was. for some reason.
Transition by Phoenix.
Hey Danny, can you shut the F up right now? You haven't said anything, and all of a sudden you're chirping in.
It's classic.
I was trying to highlight our press. Why don't you talk about our press, Danny? Without giving our all of our secrets.
I thought throughout this entire game that our press and our reactions were fantastic. I think it was a big reason we had success because they were uncomfortable playing.
Yeah. Already early in the second half, too many opportunities off free kicks in the final third.
I wish I could rewind and you guys see Paulo's reaction there because it's a huge reason why he was so important in this game.
We got build out, and then we're out, up and back, and then out. Game's starting to open
Here we
up a little
come.
more now too. Yep.
One of 3 player coaches mid-season come to lead Louisville into the USL Cup quarterfinal.
I would say that I was really upset with the fans voting Luke Spencer the best coach of 2018. I thought that was a little unfair by the fans to point that out.
This is a great build-up.
Great build-up. Again, I think you see our urgency to just try to dictate the rhythm here. Keep the ball and put it in play as quickly as possible.
Yeah. We knew that if we kept playing at this tempo, that we were going to get a goal.
Yeah.
They were going to break.
And Phoenix had come out and tried to put themselves on the front foot. And it clearly wasn't. It was a good tactic by Phoenix, to be fair. I think we did a good job negating it. And because we tried to put them under pressure so constantly.
I think we talked about, we thought that they would have to change something, but we were still surprised that they came out to press us.
Yeah.
One of a handful of injuries is going to have less effect on this final than the others. Speared ahead by Craig.
Man, what a night.
Really good tackle there by George. Really good tackle by Paco. Let him off the hook right there, big time. I think we would have won the ball back. You know, we always talk about guys being ready to take their chance. I mean, I just want to give Luke a little bit of shout out here because he comes off the bench early in the Eastern Conference Final and then starts the final, and his work rate and his ability to, you know, to now start and put in the effort that he did is really phenomenal.
The thing about all the work he put in to work himself back from injury too, you know, unbelievable, great story.
Subbing himself on in a game, what a legend.
So what's going on right here, Hack? What are you explaining?
Yeah. Oh, you just got. By the way, that's a firm yellow in 2020.
That might be a battery.
That's assault, brother.
Look, that particular ref and I have a really good relationship.
Oh, yeah.
We're having a nice conversation. In all seriousness, there was nothing crazy about that. And I was just trying to point at the little grab.
Here we go.
Just wait until the death stare.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Look at that. Total jubilance. Look at that. Unbelievable. 7,100 people in the stands, packed.
Still get chills when you see it.
Malta, we need to show replays of that, man.
I know.
We're going crazy. The funny thing is, and you guys know this, you know, we score a goal like that, and you want to celebrate, but it also, at the same time, you want to get things right for the next moments, which you know are going to be critical.
I would say that's the one thing that I'll give you a lot of credit for. I hate saying that. Is that a lot of the times I'm super emotional and hyped up.
Really?
But you're
Wow,
don't,
really?
no, I'm trying to make a point. No, not right now.
Really?
Wait a second or two, okay?
Danny, you punch me.
I'm giving
Like,
you credit.
really-
Will you let me tell you? Like, all right, you know what? I'm done with it.
It's
I'm not
hard-
giving you
it's hard
credit.
Yeah.
You
I'm just saying, you punch me as hard as a person can punch.
Guys, shut up.
And you have
Shut up,
Hulk-like
shut up, shut up.
strength.
Look at this. Half chance.
Where, just to be clear, where's the half chance? Guys.
I thought it was coming.
Oh my God.
We talk about, all jokes aside, when we score a goal, that it's an important time to not take our foot off the gas. And if we can get back in a rhythm and dictate the next moments, you know, the classic, you know, coach speak is to goals are always followed by goals in games. So.
Danny's go-to in those moments is next 5 minutes. Whoever's closest in one of our jerseys. Next 5 minutes. Next 5 minutes.
He just likes to get off the bench and when the cameras
Here
are
we
on
go.
him to say something.
Here we go. It's the biggest piss. What I was trying to say was similar to Indy this year in the conference final.
Look at that.
Oh, here we go.
Here we go.
This is it.
What
Go
a
on,
run.
son. Go. Go on, kid.
This got me. I was
That little
absolutely
move
buzzing.
was
Oh.
amazing.
Just let's see.
You gotta get
We
Black,
gotta rewind that. Can we rewind it?
you gotta give Blackman
Go
a
back.
lot of credit on
Go
that.
back. Yeah, go back.
No, I'll tell you.
Look at this. I mean, this is the chance he's been looking for all game long, starting like 18 minutes in the first. Look at this.
You know what Hack said on the bench? This was classic. Why didn't he take it across his body?
I know. Something I taught him when he was 15 years old, and he still didn't do it.
I'm like, Hack, it was a great run. Cut him some slack.
Bam.
What I was trying to say earlier was similar to Indy in the conference final. It's the 88th minute in that game. And you say to me, Danny,
Danny, keep passing me.
make sure that Alexi's ready because we're going to score. Can I pass you up?
Oh my God.
Honestly, I love your hat. It's a great hat.
Do you like it?
It shows your age a little bit, 57, but it's not a big deal.
I'm 48. Let the record show.
The record is not showing.
Gentlemen, I really thought we were going to get a second one here. In particular, I really like the way that we continue to play and try to dictate things. And that's impressive when you're in a championship final. You score a goal and you don't kind of sit back and then just start to absorb pressure and defend. That was important for us.
Yeah, I agree.
See, they're making our first change, bringing Speedy on for Ilya.
Oh.
We were a little asleep there for sure. Mike Watts with a good call on that one.
What was the tactic by bringing on Speedy?
Tactic was just that, Speedy is more defensive, much more of a two-way midfielder than Ilya, who's the playmaker for us. So now we have, a midfield three where we switch Niall to the 10, Speedy's playing the 8. Gives us the ability to just have a better defensive unit. Essentially, you're going to have 5 guys that are, for the most part, responsible for defending, while you're going to have 5 guys attacking.
I mean, this is a perfect example. Look where Kyle is on the field, right? We have cover with Speedy and Paulo. With your Lexus? Huh? It's fucking...
Alright, get back into the game here, boys.
That's our bad. But that right there is a big reason we put Speedy in. Second balls, ability to defend.
I mean, I will reference the fact that, like, when you have players like Paulo and Speedy and Niall and Ilya, it's amazing to try to fit the quality of midfielders that we have. We only have 3 spots, but when you certainly believe in the team and that the collective is way more important than the me. You have guys like all 4 of those guys who are willing to understand their roles, and whenever they're called upon, they're going to do a great job. Tough chance there. It's a little fortunate that they didn't pull that one off a little better.
I think that's the amazing thing. I mean, you're able to bring Speedy Williams off the bench in a final, and it kind of shows this group as far as their culture and their belief, and like you said, we before me, it's amazing, man, because all 4 of them could be starting anywhere in the league, and Speedy's demeanor throughout the entire run was amazing. It was huge for us.
And this is Speedy's 3rd championship game in a row that he ends up winning, which is another amazing statistic. Paco uses his body really well. I know some of the Phoenix staff was calling for a foul, and I just think that would have been tragic for a referee to call that.
I actually thought it was a well-ref game.
It was. I was probably a little critical of some of the. Maybe he blew the whistle a little too early in the first half. But for the most part, really happy with the officiating in this game. Thought the whole crew did a really good job.
Yep, he sure as hell did.
I mean, you guys know I'm going to fight for my team, no matter what. So, dangerous. George getting back. Not great though, we let
one guy
get inside there. Bad turnover there for us.
I haven't said that we still had the line of 4 back.
Yeah, and Speedy doing what Speedy does best, right?
Yeah.
Winning the ball back in a dangerous spot, getting it off his feet. You can watch Paulo there. He wants to get forward so bad, and I love it, but he also realized, hey, I need to go back and just sit in front of the center backs. I think Phoenix got away with one. Good reaction by Paulo and George and Niall to get that back. You know, we're approaching the last 10 of a championship final, and we're the team in front, and we're still dictating things. And I think that's a credit to our players and the principles that we're trying to play at.
Look at the box. Really look at the numbers in the box right now.
Really good, some one-on-one defending there.
I would have loved for Kyle to win that ball when it goes through.
Yeah.
But I love the fact that he stands him up for so long and allows us to recover.
Yeah, absolutely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that.
Never called that.
And a purple wave is coming. Spencer. He slides down.
It's unfortunate.
Under the threat of the dual
If he can hold that ball up and allow us to help him. But you just look at the work ethic of our team.
Forbes has found room. They haven't been able to do anything with it yet.
And if we would have been able to score the second goal, I mean, the game is literally over here, which you can see we're still going for. We haven't had that idea that we sit back now and just absorb it for the last 10. Although we do make a change here coming up, where we clearly make that decision to go into more of that tactical adjustment.
Realizing both teams with coaches out of mid-season. Louisville. Blackman. Inside of Phoenix.
I know, Scott, that we decided not to play out of the back in the last 10 minutes there, which I think is a smart tactic. You know, when you have a lead, less than 10 minutes of regulation. So here we go, we make a change, and we bring Tosh on and put Tosh as the 6. And now we're going more defensive. And we had done this in this run in the playoffs a lot. Tosh is always our kind of, has been for our club, one of those guys that wins the big critical moments defensively. Playing him in a defensive midfielder role in this position. And again, this is something we had done numerous times, right, Danny?
Yep.
So you switch formations a little bit. You're playing with 2 holding midfielders, Paulo and Tosh. Speedy's now like the attacking midfielder, but you know he's going to go box to box. You move Niall out wide to the 7. Another guy who is absolutely always going to do the work. So, you know, you make yourself a really strong defensive unit in theory with those changes. I love that tackle there by Paulo. I don't even know how he did it. Felt like if we would have pulled that off and played through some minutes, that would have been great. Not maybe the best decision since it didn't come off there. I know fans were thinking, and I heard some commentary that like, why didn't we take Luke off earlier? And just to give my point of view, Luke was doing such a good job as our 9, as our pivot. And with the changes we made, we really needed a 9 to do that. And for the job that he's doing, I always think about, you know, on the game, you know, what is working, what is not. And I thought Luke was absolutely effective, even though, you know, this is the first game he's starting in a long time, because he was coming more off the bench before the Eastern Conference Final.
The other side of it, too, is we discussed set pieces, obviously, and he's a huge body that, from a defensive standpoint, is massive for us with 10 minutes left in the game, 20 minutes left in the game, especially with the lead, right?
Yep. Homie's going to want that one back.
The fans play for Phoenix. Sante kept it in. Forbes wants it and receives. Forbes entering the area for Sante. Falls down for a Wacko.
I think this is where we're looking at, we're asking questions of if Ombi was okay there, or if he was feeling a knock. And now as we get towards full time here, and we're anticipating extra time, we know, you know, we have one more sub to make.
Up top with the big boys. Tristan Blackman basically buying himself
if I'm remembering correctly, we were talking about, do we do Luke? Do we do Ombi? You know, I think those were our two biggest choices in this moment.
Yeah.
And I think to your point, Danny, the discussion centered around what are we going to be able to do on restarts.
Yeah.
It's hard when you look at Ombi and how he was stretching this game. You still felt like Ombi was going to maybe get one off the counter, and that he was our guy to be able to stretch them, not only with his pace, but his runs in behind.
Lambert gets in. Awako. Ball's got into the air.
Huge.
No whistle, so he goes in.
That was a total dive right there. Thank God. This is the one where I thought Ombi should have finished this and put it away.
Decent save though.
Bouncing through Smith. Forbes.
Just to the fans out there, to be a coach in these moments, I don't even know how I lived through it. So you see us bringing Maggie on there, finally going, making our third change. Maggie's now playing as the 11. Especially with Maggie having such a great year last year, it's odd looking at him coming on to this game, but he had been hurt really since the middle of the season. So just to be able to get him back and to bring a player, you talk about the players we bring on the field in this game. First we bring on Speedy, then Tosh, and then Maggie.
Never forget that feeling, man. Never ever.
No, I'm just pissed that I had promised Lance McGarvey that I would get a tattoo, and this is the moment that I realize I'm going to have to break all of my ethics and values and everything I've told my children I was going to have to actually get a tattoo. It was all worth it.
Just remember the guys having gone through so much that year and just being really, really excited that they had.
Look at you, Big Cat. You're right in the middle of that.
Big Cat's always looking for the camera.
Big Cat.
He's a camera guy.
He is a camera guy.
The league asked me to take a central position.
What's up with their goalkeeper coaches always hunting the camera?
It's
amazing.
You know, it's interesting too. It's like we had won the part. Oh jeez.
Here we go.
Can't get a word in now.
It was requested.
Yeah, this is. You know, I don't remember Niall kissing me.
Oh, camera happened.
I'll tell you what. What a mess I look like, huh?
I'm telling you.
You're a wreck.
We've been telling you at that point, we've been telling you for 4 weeks. Right.
So strong in their culture, so I know you're laughing at the way I look.
We're laughing, we're smiling. I mean, this is a great moment for you. You mentioned the players. Luke Spencer is one of those players. Not only off the field did he have an impact, but tonight he scores a game winner. What do you think that means for him?
I mean, it's a fairy tale, you know? I mean, it is amazing that he spent 6 weeks on the sidelines being the manager, and then he comes in and starts in the championship and he scores a game winner. I mean, you can't write that, but it's fitting for him because he's so prepared, and he is such an important part of what everybody in this locker room and what this team represents.
This was the first time you'd ever faced Phoenix before. We knew all about one of the players on the other side. How were you able to silence them in the field?
I mean, I think the champagne actually gives my beard a little bit better of a look, don't you guys think?
What's that? The beard coloring system that you can buy for $39.99?
I'll never do it. Never.
30. Let me tell you something. If you're buying a beard
What do you call it?
coloring system for $39.99, you got issues. You got real issues.
You said he looked
You
younger.
do have
Like,
issues for that's a
He
fact.
did look younger. His skin
I
tone.
don't have a beard. I
his-
don't even know the name of the product.
His skin tone was much better back then. There's no doubt about it. He's been outside way too often in the Louisville sun. You know what I mean? But it is what it is. He won a championship that night.
Hey, cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Sorry. Good.
Oh my god.
Do you know where your beer is,
Yeah,
Danny?
I've only given-
Mine's empty. You've been babysitting.
Here, does he need one?
Cheers. I got one. Thanks, Malty.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. You want to talk about the podcast a little bit as well?